Incoming subspace signal.
You are watching Central Valley Geeks.
I'm back, baby! Okay, so today is Wednesday, February 28th, and today we unfortunately lost Richard Lewis, who I remember most fondly from Robin Hood Men in Tights. So I decided to do a movie review on Robin Hood Men in Tights tonight. I'm going to upload this as soon as possible, hopefully before midnight. I'm gonna go over a couple things. Gonna play around with a few things. I've got you on a gimbal on the front-facing camera, so I can actually look at what's recording, and I'm gonna be looking at myself rather than the camera. So I apologize. It's like weird because I need to look here, but when I look here, I can't tell if I'm looking correctly. But I'm gonna do what I can. I may or may not edit that out. I don't know. So I've been playing around with ChatGPT, and I've actually used it to write a few scripts. I haven't used any yet. I mean, I haven't been putting out really any videos, but I want to change that, and maybe ChatGPT can help me with that. Maybe it can't. I don't know. I'm gonna look at their script. I may read it. I'm going to read parts of it word for word, but I'm probably going to change some certain things because I'm not going to go with greetings, Central Valley Geeks. No, I'm going to be like, hey, thank you for watching Central Valley Geeks. It is the premiere episode of Central Valley Geeks movie reviews, and like I mentioned, it is a tribute episode to Richard Lewis. Today we're going to take a look at Robin Hood Men in Tights. I don't like any of that what's written, but I did want it's pointing out because I typed in the little prompt. I wanted to make special note of course, Richard Lewis, but then Carrie Ells, love Carrie Ells, and of course Patrick Stewart. I mean, I can't watch this movie without thinking of Patrick Stewart. Came out in 93, 94. Boom, height of his TNG career. But let's move on, and I guess I'm gonna talk a little bit about why Richard Lewis was cast for Prince John, which actually seems kind of cool. I don't know if it's just the script saying it or if he's actually known for this, because Richard Lewis, little bit before my time. I remember him on some shows here and there, but I don't actually know if I've seen any of his stand-up. So I don't know if he is considered, the article says improv king, or the script says improv king. So I'm going to say the improv king himself, Richard Lewis. So cool behind the scenes story. This one I'm going to read word for word because I don't know what it says. I am reading this on the fly for most of it. Now, Robin Hood Men in Tights is not only a cinematic... it is a cinematic masterpiece, but it says comedic masterpiece, but also a product of the creative genius of Mel Brooks. The iconic director brought together a talented cast to breathe life into this satirical take on the classic Robin Hood legend. One fascinating behind-the-scenes tidbit is that Richard Lewis initially hesitated to take on the role of Prince John. Then it gives me a little suggestion to play a clip of Richard Lewis in the role. Back to the script. Richard Lewis, a seasoned stand-up comedian, was known for his improvisational skills. His initial reluctance stemmed from the challenge of fitting into a scripted role in a Mel Brooks film. However, once he joined the cast, his chemistry with the ensemble and his ability to improvise contributed immensely to the film's comedic richness. I can't disagree with any of that. I love the movie. I love Prince John in it. When during the rewatching, the moles walking around, traveling around his face. It's funny. Let's talk about Richard Lewis's unique contributions to the film's comedic atmosphere. Behind the scenes, Lewis brought his improvisational flair to the set. I don't know why I'm having issues saying that word. Improvisational. Lewis brought his improvisational flair to the set, infusing spontaneity into his scenes. Mel Brooks, known for encouraging improvisation, allowed Lewis to play with the character, resulting in some of the film's most memorable moments. This seems like it's been a thing of Mel Brooks's for a long time. If you look at his other movies, of course, Spaceballs, then you've got History of the World Part 1, Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, To Be or Not to Be, and I'm for the producers, and there's the silent movie. I think I may have all of them. Dracula Dead and Loving It. And actually, I don't know if there was any more after Dracula Dead and Loving It. But when you watch the Mel Brooks movies, I almost said Mel Gibson, but the Mel Brooks movies, it seems like there's a lot of improvisation in it, except in the stuff that's staged, like the musical numbers, History of the World Part 1, when they do the slot machine of the Jewish people spinning. Of course, that wasn't improvised. They had to know what they were going to do for that. The songs, the lyrics, I'm guessing a lot of it was probably planned, but it definitely started out with some improv into it, because you have to just make it up off the top and get it to go with the melody. And then he uses the same melody in multiple movies, so it's kind of like, to me, kind of like a Weird Al parody, where he's taken the song and just reusing it in a different context. Another behind the scenes gem is the camaraderie among the cast members. Richard Lewis, alongside Carrie Ells, and I really hope I say that correctly, and Roger Reese, another name I hope I'm saying correctly, and the rest of the ensemble formed a tight-knit group that contributed to the film's success. The genuine friendships off-screen translated into a seamless on-screen dynamic. You know, they just said, and the rest of it, the ensemble, kind of wondering where Amy Yazbek, or Amy Yazbek, I can't pronounce her last name, where she fits in, and same with, I had his name, Dave Chappelle. Same with Dave Chappelle. Was he a part of that camaraderie? Because to be honest, when I was watching it, I wasn't critiquing it like that until now. I'm thinking about it. He didn't seem to have as well of a connection, say that like Little John and Scarlet Will Scarlet, had together. They just seemed to mesh a little bit better. Blinken kind of was off to kind of on the outskirts too, but I kind of went with he's blind for that one, so I don't know. Back to the script. Interviews with the cast revealed the laughter-filled atmosphere on set. Richard Lewis's anecdotes about working with Mel Brooks and the rest of the crew highlight the collaborative spirits that fueled the film's comedy. The camaraderie amongst the cast undoubtedly played a role in making Robin Hood Men in Tights a joyous experience for both the actors and the audience. I am sorry that it is moving this much. If I change it off face tracking, then if I move like that, you won't see me at all. So we're gonna leave it as is. It was a joyous experience for both the actors and the audience. I may have already said that, but yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I've seen it a lot of times. In my notes that I have for the movie, I was going to make a comment about this was the first Carrie Ells movie I ever saw when it came out in 93. Summer of 94, I probably saw Robin Hood Men in Tights on HBO at least 100 times. But that was the first Carrie Ells movie I ever saw. And it wasn't actually for a few years from that, maybe a couple years from that, where I actually watched Princess Bride. And that actually was surprising to me that I had never seen The Princess Bride before. I do keep looking just to make sure, like, oh, I'm touching that. But I was surprised that I didn't hadn't seen that Princess Bride before, because I'd seen pretty much every other now I'm saying Mel Brooks, uh, uh, Billy Crystal movie. Like, I was the only kid in fourth grade, maybe even third or fourth grade, who had seen Forget Paris. What child has seen Forget Paris? My wife didn't even see the movie till like 2 or 3 years into our marriage, so I was a weird kid. I also was the only kid that I knew that saw Shawshank Redemption in the movie theater. Saw that at the premiere in Sacramento, California, and years later found out that that Morgan Freeman was in the back of the theater watching with us. So technically, I've seen a movie premiere with Morgan Freeman. But I'm gonna move away from that. Um, it, it talks. I don't like the paragraphs that they have that are focusing on just specific actors, because of what happened today with Richard Lewis. I am gonna read the script that it has written. I'm obviously not ending the episode right now because I have some other stuff I want to talk about too. But before we conclude today's premiere episode, it is with heavy hearts that we pay tribute to the late, great Richard Lewis, who passed away at the age of 76 today. Richard brought unparalleled laughter to audiences throughout his career, leaving an indelible mark on the world of comedy. Behind his contributions beyond his contributions to Robin Hood Men in Tights, Lewis's stand-up television appearances and his unique brand of humor endeared him to fans around the globe. It is with deep respect that we acknowledge his battle with Parkinson's disease, a fight he faced with courage and grace. Today, as we celebrate the joy he brought to our lives, let us remember Richard Lewis as a comedy legend and an inspiration to us all. May his comedic spirit continue to live on in the hearts of those who enjoyed his work. Our thoughts are with his family, friends, and countless fans who cherish the laughter he shared with the world. Rest in peace, Richard Lewis. I actually don't mind that little paragraph tribute that it came up with. I didn't make any edits to that. Read it word for word, except for my stumbling on a few of the words. But I like that it mentioned Parkinson's disease. In the prompt. The prompt I gave it was, add a paragraph tribute to Richard Lewis and Parkinson's disease since he died at 76 years old today. And that's the thing that it gave me. Really nice, which is cool too, because none of the Chat GPT information that's has been updated since like January of 2023. So there's no way that it would know in February of 2024 that Richard Lewis died today. That's why I had to give it that information. It also removed. It had thoughts. Yes, my thoughts are thinking of his family, thinking about how he had to come out with the disease a year ago, and how that had to change his friends and family. I'm glad, and like I said, I didn't change the words, so I would have read it probably, but it didn't have anything about prayers or being in a better place or anything like that. And I always think that that's you say thoughts and prayers, and so often that it almost becomes meaningless, and you add in the that he's in a better place. I personally don't buy it. And a lot of other religions don't have a better place either. Not all religions have a heaven or a hell. So whether you're Christian, atheists, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhists, and other religions that I can't think of right now, I it doesn't single any specific religion out. It doesn't it's not inclusive or exclusive of anyone. So I did like that. Let's shoot over. I love the rapping merriment at the beginning. Uh, yeah, I'm not even gonna attempt to sing it. One thing I thought was hilarious, and I'm not gonna have a chance to put a picture of him up here because I'm gonna upload this video to YouTube immediately. But in a parallel dimension, there is a picture. Okay, that was weird. Sorry. There's something with my gimbal where I can control it with my hands, so I told it to stop recording in sign language. So I'm gonna try to not do that again. But in a parallel universe, there is a picture of Brian George from. Okay, so I figured it out. When I put my hand up like a stop sign, like you're telling someone to stop, I would demonstrate it, but it would stop recording again. So when you put up I would normally have a picture of Brian George right here from Star Trek Deep Space Nine and or The Big Bang Theory, because he was Raj's father and The Big Bang Theory, which was a lot more episodes than what he did for Deep Space Nine. Like, I think he did one episode for Deep Space Nine, and he did one episode for Orville, which I love also. Hope they bring it back for season 4, I think it would be. But he was but Dr. Bashir's dad, Brian George, was the dungeon maitre d, and that is how he's credited. I did double check that on IMDb because at first my head was thinking concierge. Oh, I love during the fight after he meets a Chew. He wants to pump up his shoes, and yes, I did have a pair of those shoes when I was a kid. I had the Kmart generic brand. Yeah, they didn't last very long. I think they lasted like a month or two into school that year, but they were cool. So I also have to say that Roger Reese being in this movie when I was a kid, I grew up watching Cheers and Frasier and those types of shows. As a kid, I wasn't normal. I didn't watch cartoons. I was watching the show, the whatever TV shows my mom and grandma were watching. Those were the shows that I was watching too. So I watched Cheers. I love Cheers. Woody Harrelson is fantastic in that. And I could have a whole episode argument on the Diane and wow, I'm completely drawing a blank on her character's name. Anyways, I'll get back to this. So I love Roger Reese in Cheers. And then we have another scene, another Star Trek person. In the very first scene with Richard Lewis, we also get Chase Masterson. She's the giggling girl that he's gonna he says he's gonna meet later. She giggles and then she walks off. That's Chase Masterson. That is Lita from Deep Space Nine. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows Lita from Deep Space Nine was in a scene with Richard Lewis in Robin Hood Men in Tights. The cardboard cutout of the Sheriff of Rottingham in Latrine's cellar or tower or whatever it is she's in. I love the expression on it when they're talking about, basically they're talking about date raping the prince, or I'm sorry, the sheriff, by getting him drunk. I like that the cardboard cutout is kind of got the crappy smile to a worried grin. It's funny in that context because in 1993 when this movie came out, date rape wasn't a thing for against men, kind of like domestic violence was either. I mean, it happened, but it wasn't prevalent, and it was kind of hidden away. I mean, Robert De Niro, probably the only celebrity I can think of that is only male celebrity victim I can think of off the top of my head that is a domestic violence survivor. So I don't make light of I don't make light of those jokes at all. But they put it in there in 1993 context. It was a funny joke. There's a couple other questionable jokes in here. I don't know if I'm gonna talk about them all. Love the joke where Robin Hood tries to jump onto the horse and Dave Chappelle goes, "White men can't jump." I loved that movie, and I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if it's irrelevant. Another quick mention. I was talking about Amy Yazbek, however you say her name. She is the former wife, or she was the widow of John Ritter. When he died filming Eight Simple Rules to Dating My Teenage Daughter, something like that. Again, another comedic legend. I don't, how many young kids was it normal as a 6 or 7 year old that I was watching Three's Company? Tell me down in the comments. Did you, when you were 6 or 7, were you watching Three's Company? Oh, I also had to mention the Blinken damn edit or damn stop button. Okay, so when Blinken is in the water closet, since it's in England, I'll use the water closets term. He's got the magazine and he's groping it. That was funny because in 1993 that wasn't a thing. It's funnier now in 2024 because you can get that as a thing. For blind people can actually get it's a lot easier to get things like that. You can get sculptures or textured things of people's faces on pictures, and they're making it things like that more accessible for blind people. I just love the fact that that was included in that movie in 1993, when it was probably around to like 1% of what it is now. So I just thought that was really cool. The Domino Armored Knights, I was going to talk about that, but that just makes a lot of noise when they go down. The Men in Tights song. Can't talk about Robin Hood Men in Tights without talking about the Men in Tights song. Normally, ask anyone that knows me, I hate musicals. I'm not even a fan of the Sweeney Todd one. Like I can, that's the one I can sit through and watch, but I just can't watch musicals. But any musical number that's in a Mel Brooks movie, I love it. They're catchy. They get stuck in my head. Jews in Space, I get them stuck in my head, and they're catchy, and I don't mind them. The dances are ridiculous. The guys doing the can, it's funny. I love it. But if that were to be in a serious movie, or are any musicals serious? But if you're watching the Taron Egerton Robin Hood movie from 2018, and all of a sudden all of us merry men started singing and dancing, that would be really weird, and most people wouldn't like it. But in Mel Brooks, it makes sense and it works. Just gonna go over a couple other things. I remember having to Google, or I put in the little notes, I remember having to go to the website Ask Jeeves to find out what a chastity belt was back in the early 90s. And this was before everything was automatically porn on the internet. So it was scary to see as a 9 would have been 95, 96. So as a 12, 11, 12, 13 year old, 11, 12 year old is more like it. I don't want to be seeing that stuff. That was weird. And it looked nothing like the one in the movie. Love Mel Brooks's fourth wall breaks. I mean, when you're watching Robin Hood Men in Tights, and Robin loses, and then I lose, and then they pull out the script and they read it, and then everyone else pulls out the script and then they read it. I thought that was hilarious. I think that is the best fourth wall break of everything. Second best is Spaceballs, where they're watching the VHS. The VHS was, you'll just have to watch, the kids go watch Spaceballs and you'll see what a VHS is. Now we have streaming. But I love it that they put in the VHS and they're looking back and forth. Wow, that made my camera move a lot. I hope that doesn't turn out that bad. But they're looking back and forth. That's a close second. And then close third is basically anything else, anything that Deadpool does to break the fourth wall. And I'm hoping and wondering that will Deadpool and Wolverine be a better fourth wall break than anything that anyone else has ever done. I hope so. In 1993, being 9 years old when this movie came out, I didn't have any idea what a Patriot era was. As a 40-year-old, no, I'm kidding. I know what a Patriot era is, and it's funnier now knowing what a Patriot era was. And before you thought, oh, it's just a heat-seeking missile. There's more to it than that, so it's cool. And I'm gonna skip the rest of the things. I was gonna talk about Pig Latin being the new Latin. I think that was funny, but one thing, and the Rappin' Merrymen do make a mention of it at the end of the movie, is hopefully we'll be back together in Robin Hood 2, or some lyrics like that. And I was already previously, before I watched this movie, as soon as the Fox logo popped up, I looked at my wife and I'm like, could Disney do a Robin Hood Men in Tights 2? Because they already did History of the World Part 2, and that was like 40 years after the original. So I'm thinking that would be awesome. And then I got to thinking, what if they did Spaceballs? If they brought Spaceballs back, they did a sequel to that. Unfortunately, we don't have John Candy, but if we got the rest of the original cast, we also don't have Joan Rivers. Princess Vespa would be a Disney princess, and part of the deal that Mel Brooks made with George Lucas when he asked to do the parody of the film was George Lucas said, yes, you can do it, but you can't do any merchandise. So to make a joke out of that, Mel Brooks put a bunch of merchandise into the movie that you can't get in real life. Well, walk in Disney, 35 years later, they now own the rights to Spaceballs and Star Wars. Yeah, let's get some merchandise for Spaceballs out there, Disney. Let's get on top of that. I want the flying Winnebago. I live in a trailer now, so I want the flying Winnebago. I would put it right up on my ceiling. Give me the flying Winnebago. Give me. You already reused the plot from Spaceballs and the Marvels. So give me the Mega Maid. That was cool. I can't use my hands because it'll stop filming. But give us the Mega Maid toys. But anyways, I'm gonna kill the video here. You guys have a good night or good morning, or I'm not gonna say the rest of it because I am not Jim Carrey or Truman. So whenever you watch this, have a good rest of whatever it is that day, night, whatever. Bye.